All right, welcome back. It is a terrific Tuesday when we started. It's been terrific so far, but it's going to get even more terrific right now because now every week we're joined by my good friend Fog City Midge, as you might know her on social media, where she is a huge star. But she's also known to us as Maggie Vandenberghe. Thank you so much for joining us today, Midge. You're the bomb. Love the new backdrop there, the Golden Gate Bridge. And she's in the heart of like liberal country there, out on the left coast in San Francisco. And I'm watching some of your videos, darling. When you're out there, I get nervous for you. I don't know, you got nerves of steel.
Well, thank you. It toughens you up living in San Francisco. I often feel like I might be the most hated woman in San Francisco, but it's a badge that I wear proudly.
You think you're the most hated woman out there? I mean, I
might be.
I haven't seen any violence on you, but sometimes I get a little nervous, like they got to do something to you.
Well, the people that know who I am do not like me because I'm also one of the only people who is an open and proud Trump supporter in the city of San Francisco. However, I can't really claim it as my hometown anymore because I've had to move out since coronavirus. The city has gotten way too crazy.
So, Midge.
And people are leaving droves. They are leaving San Francisco, leaving California.
So, Midge, I'm reading, and we both know there's a lot of fake news out there. I think we both got snagged yesterday with that protester falling off the statue. Someone sent it to me. I jumped to a conclusion that, it was somebody. It turns out that was from like 2015, but maybe it's a good lesson to these kids to stay off the statues. But you're really good at breaking down what is and isn't fake news. And this whole COVID case stuff with the definitions of what's a case, COVID related, COVID complicated, it just seems like everything's a case now. What's happening? What's the deal?
Yeah, I encourage you to check out my video that I made recently, and I encourage all your viewers to go and check that out. I made a video on the rising COVID cases in Texas, where a group of county commissioner supervisors basically got together. They live streamed their meeting. So I found this video online, and they were breaking down a new document which went through point by point how they were going to count the cases now. Previously, in order to be counted as a case in Texas, you had to have a positive, test swab for COVID-19, and that was counted as one case. But under the new case definition, you could be someone who was in contact with the case and if you had a headache. So now what they're doing is the contact tracers call everyone who works around or lives with or has been in contact with or is a neighbor of someone who tests positive, and they ask them a series of questions. Have you been in contact with this person? Do you have a headache? Do you have any symptoms? Do you have? And if you say yes, then they mark you down as a probable case. The problem is now that probable cases are being added onto the number of cases. So I believe that this is directly the reason why we're seeing a massive uptick in cases in states like Texas and Florida and California. It's a combination of increased testing and changing the definitions of how we define a case of COVID-19.
Yeah, so Midge, I know of a person here in Staten Island. I was friends with the family, and the guy went in for an elective surgery right before the beginning of COVID, taking off. And they said, well, elective surgery is still allowed, but we have to test you for COVID first. So they tested the guy for COVID before they let him get the surgery, and he was negative. He did not have COVID. He went in. It was an ambulatory. He came out. He had a polyp on his throat or something. They did the surgery. He went home. He had some complications, went back to the hospital, and died. And the death certificate says COVID. In the meantime, he was tested 2 days before he went in, and he was negative. So there's no way it could have been COVID because he was tested 48 hours before he went in. Is this happening across the country and predominantly in red cities and states, in blue cities and states?
I mean, that story is shocking, but I have heard so many similar stories to that where people are dying in car accidents, but the death certificate says COVID-19. I don't even know what to believe anymore because, I'm not sitting there at a morgue marking down the cause of death for these people, but it sure seems like, based on just how many stories like that I've heard, that there must be a massive number of people who are being counted as COVID-19 who are not actually dying from COVID-19.
So
we've got these case numbers, inflated death numbers.
Yeah, and I talked about this a little earlier, but it's like right on this topic. One of my viewers sent me this, a note from their salon that said, "We regret to inform you through contact tracing, we were notified today by Atlantic County Health Department a person who tested positive was in the salon on Wednesday, July 8th. As per CDC guidelines, we are temporarily closing the salon in order to mitigate any possible spread. We'll safely reopen on July 23rd. So now this new tracking app they put on everyone's phone, and you're seeing this in Cali, they open, everybody's all happy, they can go back to work, and now the government can pot shot people and say, oh, you're closed again. This is what Gavin Newsom is doing to you out there.
Yeah, and people are really upset. Yesterday was horrible. Gavin Newsom tweeted the new announcement that everything is basically going back into shutdown. Any business that's indoors, any small business, personal care businesses, shops, bars, restaurants, they are all closing in over 30 counties, which is most of the state. So people are super upset. I mean, we've been in our homes and basically locked up and businesses closed for what, 4.5, 5 months now. I mean, people are fed up, and they were so excited to reopen a few days ago, and now they're told that they have to close down again. People are losing their minds, and I'm actually very frightened for people's health and well-being. You know, like people that need to exercise, that need to get out, that need to feel normal. And we were all so excited to do that, and now we're being sent back into shutdown, and people are, I mean, I was crying. People are really upset. It's not a good place to be right now, and you can feel the oppression of what an oppressive, tyrannical government can do. And it's terrifying, to be honest.
Midge, I happen to think we just had Jennifer Cuevas on. She's a mental health disaster expert. So they bring her in like Red Cross and FEMA to talk to people after disasters and, you know, try to help them cope and get through and rejuvenate themselves. I really think there's going to be a moment where somebody out there whose business was closed, then it was open, then it was closed, one of these people is going to go on a crazy shooting spree or something because they're just going to lose it mentally. And it's like, it's really brought on by the government. Like how many governors can have blood on their hands? Cuomo and Newsom are right up there with them.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm frightened that someone might do something violent because we've been pushed so far. You know, I would never want it to come to that. And I pray that people who are having problems can reach out and try to get help. But I mean, this is no joke. In Southern California, we've had more people die of suicide, and that was in April. I can't even imagine how people are even feeling now. But yeah, so we've had more people die of suicide than of coronavirus in many parts of the state. So when they talk about stay home, save lives, you know, this is propaganda that we're being sold, because the reality is the more that people stay home, you're destroying the country, you're destroying the economy, you're destroying people's lives. So, you know, we know how to treat the virus. We know that with certain medical treatments, you know, the vast majority of people can make a full recovery. And we also know the people that are the most vulnerable. So it's insane to me that they're now talking about not reopening schools. You know, we know that kids are not really affected by this. And we're talking about sending the whole state back into shutdown is what is happening right now. And I don't know if people can take it. And I encourage them to just make sure that they look into the facts and that they wake up and that they, you know, vote Republican, because, you know, these problems are coming from the Democrat leaders that are ruining the state.
So I got some notes here. It says, if he wants, we can discuss AOC's latest stupidity if he hasn't covered it yet. I'm covering her stupidity every day, Midge, as much as I can. But, you know,
you covered it right before I came on.
Yeah, we just showed this video, and I have a couple of my friends here. And I was saying, you know, I didn't see anybody running down the street with loaves of bread, but my friend Paulina is saying that she was making the analogy that people are stealing stuff and selling it so they can go buy a loaf of bread. That's not how I read it, but there's no justification for this, is there?
No, there's not. And I can tell you, John, I've been hungry plenty of times in my life, and I never went out and had to steal, you know, a Gucci bag or a pair of sneakers or a flat screen TV. You know, we're in hard times right now. You know, people here are going hungry for months. You don't see people going out and stealing. That's wrong. And it's insane to me that AOC wants to sit there and try to justify the uptick in crime because people need to feed their families. I don't think that it explains the reason why we're seeing increased shootings and homicides and, you know, aggravated assaults happening all across the, you know, New York City. I would love for AOC to address the people that whose lives she has destroyed by, you know, overlooking the own area.
No doubt.
It's completely pathetic that she would try to say that this is because people need to steal a loaf of bread.
All right, you guys got to go out there and follow Midge if you're not already, and she's followed by almost everyone. But Fog City Midge, she's one of the greatest truth tellers we have, and especially out on the West Coast, she needs all the support she can get. Thanks for joining us so much, my friend. I really appreciate it. Stay safe, will you?
Always good to see you, John.
You too. And when you're back in town, you know, your invite's open for the pool. All right, that's Fog City Midge. Quick break, back after this.